The first time I ever lived in California was because I was going to like a troubled young adult program.
Ooh.
And I'm driving out to the place in the Inland Empire. And in the car headed to this program, this woman is like, "You're going to Redlands. Nobody in California knows that Redlands is a thing. And it's the worst place in the entire state of California." And I'm like, "Thanks, lady. I'm just going to be in this mandatory program for like a year, but like, don't worry about it." Thank you for the kind introduction. And really, it was just like, full of meth heads. That was the big problem, like full of homeless meth heads. And it was called Redlands because of the soil. They grew a lot of citrus trees in like big plots. And the first time I was ever robbed, I was walking down a street that was just like miles and miles of citrus groves on either side. And some like janky meth head like came out from the citrus trees and robbed me. Like,
wow.
Like, really,
you say, "I'm sorry, meth head, but I think you accidentally robbed me. Could I please have that back? I don't want to accuse you of anything." That was
at least
my
he didn't have scurvy.
Exactly.
No,
never.
They literally ran up on me from behind, put what felt like a gun to the back of my back, and were like, "Drop everything you're holding." And I was like, "Yes, sir."
It's either a gun or a dick. So
like, I don't want to play like, is this really right now? I'm like, nothing I'm holding is worth any of this. Like, take it all. Just leave me alone, please.
That's scary.
Don't pull me into the orange groves.
Kim, did you see that documentary on Netflix called The Program?
Oh my, yeah. I
was that like what you were just describing? Because
wait, what did you do? What did you do to go there?
Well, I mean, I've been in and out of troubled teen industry programs.
Was it
like
after you got that tattoo? They were like, "Oh, we need to."
Black hole.
No, that
was not that in the program. It's how they initiate you.
That's the exact tattoo I wanted to get on my tramp stamp area. By the way, I was like, I
actually got it when I was
15. My sister literally got that. That tattoo where Chrissie wanted it.
Wow.
No joke, not kidding.
No, I haven't watched the program fully because it's honestly a little bit much. Almost every program I was ever sent to as a kid has been shut down for abuse or lawsuits.
Yes.
Like I have crazy stories, and like we've talked like all of our little groups, like we've talked so much about like, okay, like we should really expose this, and a lot of us have independently been like, I don't know how much we want to relive that period because it was just so horrible.
Yeah, that's what I was getting. So that's like really interesting.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, even at this particular program, they're still running, but they can't run as the program that they used to be because of all of the things that they got in trouble for.
Well, like, is it like the Paris Hilton thing?
Yeah, or like a Bad Baby, with the whole Dr. Phil thing. Like that was when troubled teen industry really started getting like public attention, when she sued the shit out of him for sending her into these programs because they were extremely abusive. And the thing with it is like, who is more vulnerable than like these like kids who get into trouble and who are using drugs or who have other behavioral issues? And like a big thing is like abuse would run rampant at these places. There's a lot of famous stories about it, but
so you are basically like Paris Hilton, grew up in New York, but you were
like Drew Barrymore.
Paris Hilton and I went to the same summer school actually, and she only made it for 3 days.
I just thought it was hot, and it was not hot.
It was not.
They were treating us. I would get into clubs and then I was sent away. Yeah,
it was funny. My math teacher was telling me how like she brought her dog to school in a bag that cost more than his whole salary.
You are Paris Hilton. Do you know this?
Wow.
This is amazing. Yeah, it's exactly the same. Paris Hilton, different. But that's exactly what she talks about.
Is this true, Kim? Does Paris have size 11 feet?
I don't know. I never met her in person. I just know of the stories, the legacy stories from back before I was there.
Wild.
But yeah, no, these programs are totally screwed, and I can go on for hours and hours and hours, but like I was saying a minute ago, like the basic philosophy, and like I've heard them say this to parents. They stopped letting me do parent tours because I flipped out over this. But one of the heads of the programs I was at forever ago said straight up to a parent, "Don't worry, we won't believe everything they say about you if you don't believe everything they say about us."
Whoa.
What?
Like, I know of different girls who had their appendixes burst when they were in program, because when they tried to tell people they were in pain and suffering, they were like, oh, you're just faking it. Like one girl was in surgery for like 3 days because she went septic. Like these places were horrible. Like meanwhile, there was like all sorts of like underground fight clubs going on, and like a couple of the staffers were like having sex with some of the inpatients, and like, oh, I have some stories. Let me tell you, like it is crazy.
Yeah, that is a crazy documentary.
What's the longest time you were in one of those?
2.5 years.
Wow.
Because like especially when you go to one program, the thing is like they all funnel into each other. So like first you're given an educational consultant who sends you to like a wilderness or an introductory type program, and then they're like, oh well, don't worry, if you do well in this, you can go home.
Wilderness?
They could send you into the wilderness?
Yeah, I mean, like, you ever heard of like I forget
your
the name
Bear
of the
Grylls
place.
now survive.
No, like they would say like they'd send you to programs in like the middle of the desert, the middle of the woods.
So there were other people. They don't helicopter
therapeutic programs with like these people who have no qualifications whatsoever. There were so many instances of kids getting horribly abused and horribly hurt in these places. Like, and then when you go to there, they tell you, oh, well, like this was a beginning, but you need to go to a secondary program. And all of these programs like funnel into each other, and they all make money referring to these kids to these next programs and these next programs. And like, especially in high school, like forget early adulthood, like because there are people who stay into these programs well into their early 20s, and I even knew someone who was like 30 years old in this program. But like if you get a kid in young enough, like I knew a kid who was in these programs from like age 11 all the way through graduating high school.
Holy moly. Okay,
that is
therapeutic indoctrination. If you ever want a really crazy story, look up As I Am about DJ AM. He talks about going into a program in Los Angeles, and like it's so funny, like he I mean, like talking about all of the like sexual abuse, all of this other stuff that was happening, and like he had finally escaped the program. His friends had like rescued him, and they went to this amusement park, and it just so happened that the program he was at was doing like a field trip to the amusement park that day, and they captured him and they brought him back and to like where he was getting seriously sexually abused. And his mother came and was like, by the way, your father's not your father. Your real father's dying of AIDS, but don't worry, at least you're in this therapeutic environment where they can help you through this.
You know what, Kim? I swear to God, I thought eating disorder therapy was bad. Worst thing they ever did was make me eat cheesecake with a bunch of girls. I thought that was torture. Like, torture. They send you away, you would get to mini golf and everything. They were nice as could be. I feel blessed I never had to do something like that.
There was at the very last place I was lent, they if you got into trouble, they would put you in on non-com, which means you couldn't talk to anybody, and they would make you live in a tent behind where the main building was, like in like the driveway area, and you would subsist on something called the benchmark diet, which was like some ramen and like a fig bar and like a couple.
That sounds great, actually. I would love.
Sounds just like struggle meals.
It was, and people would lose crazy amounts of weight, and like people would come there with like very mild problems and leave. Like I know one girl never had done drugs in her life. She went as a behavioral case. They put her on non-com. They put her in a tent. She went AWOL, and before we knew it, she's got a baby daddy and she's smoking meth. Like these programs are horrible. They're all and like, you know, like I said, it's so easy to manipulate and take advantage of them because like these are kids that by and large society, you wouldn't trust them. You wouldn't believe them. They're drug addicts. They're problems. They're troublemakers. So it's like, oh, well, like, who are you going to believe, us or them? Like,
well, some of the things that I heard from that was like these people literally never touched drugs. Some of these girls or guys like never touched drugs, but the way that they orchestrated this like systematic program was that they made you believe, and they basically got to the point where like I had to admit to doing drugs because if I didn't, it was worse.
Yeah, if you didn't admit that you were like,
they're like, I might as well just say I did so that I can go through the program and go through this whole thing. And what one of the punishments that I saw that they had was you would just repeat a certain phrase for like 10 hours straight or something, upwards to 10 hours straight, like the same standing, holding something, like fucked up little like things that just tormented you. And it was fucked up shit. And I'm sorry you went through that.
Like, especially as like a young adult, like it wasn't always things that you would immediately think of as like, oh, this is messed up. But like, especially in like retelling my stories to people later, people will like hear stuff that like I've experienced or stuff that like I've like heard about and be like, whoa, like how is that even possible? And it's like, oh no, like this is very normal. This is happening all the time.
Jeez.
Wow. And the thing is too, they manipulate your parents too, because your parents are struggling taking care of you because like you're on drugs or you're doing poorly in school or you're doing whatever, and they're like, oh no, don't worry, we'll make sure we give them back to you like well adjusted, and this is clearly too much for you to handle, so we'll take care of it for you.
The parents are being sold this too.
Parents are being manipulated.
They're just as much. You have the kids being manipulated, and then you have the parents. Right. And sometimes some of these parents, some of these stories are like remarried parents. So maybe it's a stepdaughter, they're being remarried. So then the stepmother isn't a fan.
I'll open up a new rabbit hole for you guys. You know about like the kids who are like the programs and the organizations that you can hire to come abduct your child and bring them
like 3 a.m.
Like, strangers would wake you up in the middle of the night in your bedroom and they'd be like, you do this the easy way or the hard way. You can either come willingly and we'll buy you Starbucks, or we'll shackle and chain you and we'll drag your ass through the airport.
Yep. What? Yeah. 3 a.m. And that's when at the weirdest hours too.
When I figured out I was headed for wilderness, when I figured out that this was like something that was going to happen, when there had been enough educational consultants, one of my friends at the time was like, yo, sleep with a knife on your bed and just stab them. Straight up, like, what are they going to do? What, like a stranger woke me up in the middle of the night. I felt like I had to defend myself. And I'm like, dude, like, I don't have the stomach for that. I'm like, that sounds like a great plan, but like, I'm not there. Like,
that's just opening up a whole nother can of worms.
Mm-hmm. Just like give them problems. Don't let them come and take you. I was like,
they were using torture techniques to break you down. Then you are reprogrammed.
Yeah. It's like beyond even like, like military. It's like torture. It's literally you're in imprisonment, and like Kim clearly knows. Like I only just watched this documentary, but I was just blown away and very like interested in that because of the psychology behind it.
What is it called again? I want to write.
It's called
the program. There's one near.
I haven't watched it. It's a little too much for me. I know.
It's horrible. Like I don't blame you for not being like you can't watch that casually.
It's hard for me too, because like there has been like, especially in the back of my mind, but for a while it was like very present. I was like, I want to help expose this, so a little bit of me is like happy that it's coming out, that it's becoming more mainstream, and there are some other people that I do think that at some point in my life I need to put some serious time into helping. Like one in particular, like this program I was just talking about, there was like a Christmas performance that we did where one of the kids had just
they make you perform.
Yeah, they made this kid who like
put you in the woods, but now do Seussical the musical.
No, each little group had to do their own Christmas performance, and one of the kids had just overdosed on cough medicine, and they did a rendition of the 12 Days of Christmas, and for his, he was
contraband.
Yeah, he did his part of the song was singing 2 bottle waddle, and guess what? That kid fucking overdosed from heroin not that long after, and his parents get to watch that video of him in rehab, like singing about glorifying his overdose. Like these places are such a joke, and I bet you they still have that kid's name up on the board as a success story of graduating. I promise you, it's part of the statistic to this day.
Do these places still exist?
Yeah.
What?
Holy cow.
Kiki's like
I'm
welcome to your new rabbit hole.
I'm like,
it's crazy.
It's still a thing.
And it's not that long ago and now.
Because they're incredibly lucrative. Like even the first wilderness program I went to, we did the math one day. It was like $500 a day they were paying for us to be there.
So military camp or military school, I guess, isn't that bad compared to just like
no, because at least they're like trying to forge you into like a strong person. Here they're taking advantage of the fact that nobody's going to believe you, and they're just doing messed up shit to you under the guise that it's like this therapeutic safe environment.
Yeah, and they did like these like photo shoots from what they were showing. It's like there was one day where they actually got to do something that looked fun, and it was just for photo ops just for the pamphlets.
God, it's like North Korea.
Honestly, that's a really good comparison.
They're like, we're mini golfing. Smile.
No,
now. Right.
And that's the
For
thing,
the
like
pamphlet.
when I heard about the DJ AM story with him at it was at Knott's Berry Farm when they showed up. It was so weird because I had been through the exact kind of environment he was talking about when he was like, oh, and it just so happened that they happened to be there that day. I was like, I already know how this story ends, dude. Like, this is horrible.
Did your parents apologize? Like, maybe that was a misstep. Sorry.
Yes and no. Because honestly, at the end of the day, like I was like, we've had this conversation on Simpcast before. Like, adoption did a lot to me growing up, and I was probably not the easiest kid, and honestly, they were kind of hands off in a lot of ways. And I can obviously, I'm put together. I'm here. I'm doing well. I have a good family. I have a good career. I'm fine now. But like, I would definitely grew up like troubled and like not doing well in school, and I'd rather F off and smoke pot in the wood or in Central Park or whatever. So like these educational consultants, they come to your parents, you get sent to the educational consultants, and the educational consultants are like, I don't know, it's a really bad road and you got to send her before it's too late or else you're going to blame yourself forever.
That's wild. Yikes.
Yeah, like this.
Let me just reiterate, I do not want to have children. And this is that exact thing would happen to absolutely not. And bravery. Jesus God. So many.
That's crazy. I had no idea you were affiliate. Like,
someone referred to like in that documentary, that was the first time that someone was like, oh, this is just like modern human trafficking. And I was like, oh crap, that's exactly, we're literally paying to traffic our own children in these programs. Like, I never even like thought of it like that in my own brain, but that's exactly what it is.
The form for sure.
Wow.
Well, thank God, Bad Baby and Paris Hilton are putting it into the main.
Man.
Yeah.
For real.
Oh my God.
And
That's
you
so
as well, of
crazy.
course. Yeah.
My parents made me feel like I was such a terrible kid, and I didn't have to go to a place like that. Or maybe they probably didn't have the money to send me to a place like that.
In my family, like my mom blamed the teachers. They're like, fuck Miss Hogue. I'm coming. You have detention. I'm coming to get you. I'll show her. I'm like,
Kramer is a bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Weird. But look how great you are now, Kim.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's why I'm very open about my past, because like, number one, like, haha, you can't use it against me. I already like told everybody. And number two, like, if I do anything, if I can have any influence, if like my online presence does anything, like if younger girls or younger people who like have similar struggles can like understand that that's not what your life has to turn out being, no matter how far gone you are. And that's why I really liked the whole Nala situation. Like, people, you don't understand, like, people who go through the worst stuff are the people that end up finding God. People who can't learn unless they touch the stove several times are often the people who like have a lot to like. And if I can express the lessons, and if I can teach something to somebody else without them having to go through what I had to go through to understand these things, that is enough for me. That
like a water birth will be nothing to you. You were
right.
Exactly.
Do you even know what I had to go through to get here? Like
I don't give a fuck.
5 minutes of pain for a lifetime of pleasure. That's what that's why I keep saying myself.
Oh. Wow. What an inspiration. Love you guys. Thank you for the chats. Thank you for the comments. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Bye. All right. Love you guys. God, I don't even want to leave. This candle smells so good. I don't want to leave. All right. Love you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye. Love you all. Join the Discord. Feet. Love you all. Wow. You guys are awesome. Come and get it. Bye, guys. Bye. Now I'm really leaving. Love you. Bye.